Muffy's car campaign is a really important episode of Arthur. This is the first segment of the fourth episode of the 22nd season, and in this one, a group of them have started a group to encourage people to be more environmentally friendly, but with focus on the school. For example, they put up a sign asking parents to turn off their engines when they're waiting to pick up their children, which is something that I see a lot of schools doing. If I walk past a school, a lot of them have, signs outside asking parents to turn the engines off, and then they start to get other ideas. But Muffy begins to worry that if they encourage people to use their cars less, her father's going to go out of business, and her loyalties are divided between helping the school and being environmentally friendly, or ensuring her father's business stays afloat. But actually, the messages involving that and the way her father responded to Muffy's anxieties, I think was really great and really helped to show that actually you can adapt. Businesses can adapt. Cars adapt. There are probably as many cars on the road now as there ever have been, but we have an increasing number of electric vehicles. So we actually see that it may not hinder a business, they just maybe need to change their ways. And Muffy has to learn this, and obviously the whole focus on making changes for the environment, obviously a really great message. And it actually starts off with Mrs. McGrady serving locally grown vegetables, rather than getting vegetables flown in from another country. And I feel like that's something that's always worth thinking about. Personally, I'm not actively thinking about that. If I go and buy a vegetable or a fruit, I'm not really thinking about where it came from. And I think this episode is really important to help encourage us to remember that. And that's not to say that you should never eat fruit that isn't locally grown or isn't grown in your country. But if you can make decisions that are better for the environment, that support local farmers, it's a pretty good thing to do. And this episode helps to encourage us to think of that and to remember that. So it's great for younger children. Definitely can help younger children to realize that they can play a role, and that you're never too young to try and help the environment. But also for us big kids, there are some messages in there that are just, it's nice to be reminded of them and to keep them at the front of our mind. I think the episode developed really well. The messages were put across really effectively, very clearly. I think it was good that we got Muffy's perspective, because yeah, I imagine if a class is having discussions about leaving their vehicles at home and biking to school or walking or whatever, and somebody in that class owns a car, well, their family has a car business, yeah, I can imagine them being quite anxious about that, or any other kind of business that may seemingly be affected by these changes. So I think it does well to show a balance of opinions, but ultimately shows that actually it's the right thing to do. Muffy's car campaign is a really important episode, and I think it's beautifully executed.